Hello. Hello.
Sometimes I feel like you try to purposely make it weird when we start our podcast. Hello.
Sometimes I feel like you intentionally insult me just as we're starting the podcast.
No, but he
I don't know. What do you guys think?
He yawns and stretches and does all this stuff that I keep you guys from most show podcast intros. And then you always still start with something else. Hello.
Hello.
Happy, depending on when you listen, happy Wednesday.
Ruin introductions. I do enjoy it.
We just try to have it as an introduction.
Antagonize people, but I'm not, I don't know. You know what? On with the countdown. Today in the podcast, Nikki and I talk about it is Postponement City, baby.
And you say this in one of the breaks. I'm not sure if the breaks make it into it, but we really are going to go back and forth, like postponing and then something we use to cope with the postponement of like a food item or a video game item or whatever to go back and forth, because there's a lot of postponements.
Boy, there's so much today. Yesterday hit hard, dude. It hit hard.
And then they had a lot of the... all the details, and it was just sad.
So we talk about presidential elections, football, Halo. Mitch is working from home. What's going on with Dr. Pepper and Oreos? Font choices, B&Bs, Airbnbs.
Yeah. How would you do it with just doing Blockbuster? It's a Blockbuster.
Blockbuster and breakfast?
Yeah, basically.
It's a triple B. It's a triple B. Blockbuster, bed, breakfast.
And bed, breakfast.
Okay. We talk about that new Avengers game and some Facebook stuff and an Android phone.
So there you go.
Well, you guys enjoy all of this.
Hopefully you come out of this podcast... I don't think refreshed is the right word. Feeling good. And, sad from the disappointments that we're talking through, but excited for the other things that we bring up. So it should be fun.
All right.
Yay. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
They even make morning people want to reach for the snooze button. It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
So, Nikki, it's not my Instagram takeover day anymore.
It's not. We hand the phone over to Sydney, who will have to Instagram her own today.
Did you look at my stories?
I haven't finished last night's.
Okay.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah. The only problem I had is that I'm a little frustrated by the fact that some of mine didn't upload correctly, and so there at the end of the night they get out of sequence.
That can happen.
Yeah, it does. So, I took you on a basement tour, so you can see all the crap I have in my basement. I showed you guys my movies. I didn't talk you through them, but I did show you the stacks.
An overview?
Yeah, and but the beginning of the basement tour, quote unquote, and the beginning of the DVD thing, they came out of sequence.
Well, it can't be perfect.
I would like it to be.
I know you want to go back in.
Yeah.
It's can I change these?
And I was trying to show hey, you can turn my TV on with voice commands, but you see the TV come on, and then in the other video, you see me giving the voice command after the TV's already on. So, but it's fine.
And people are going to be like, it looks inconsistent.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Well, if you follow us on Instagram, that's what you want to make sure to be doing this week at Radio U Official. We're taking over us DJs every day of the week for Insta Stories. So I did Monday, Obi did yesterday, Sydney does today, Hudson does tomorrow, JR and Lex are on Friday, and there's highlights. So in case you miss anything, you can go back and watch those wonderful stories anytime you want.
I tried to think that how Nikki would do it. And then do that.
Good.
And I went back and watched all of yours, and I was like, okay, well, she did this and that. Okay, so why don't you do this? I was trying. I tried.
Good. That's all you need to do.
That's something, guys, I don't do that very often.
Not all the time.
Trying. That's not something I'm really into.
Well, at least on Monday it was super fun, and hopefully you had fun with it too. It was really fun as another way to answer and interact with you guys.
I was surprised
with all the
by
questions.
How many people had questions. I put out the question hey, because that's one I stole straight from you. She was Nikki was hey, I'm also the operations director. Ask me anything. And so I did a hey, Riot co-host, ask me anything. I got tons
of good questions.
So
again, follow us at Radio U Official, and you can watch those from Monday and yesterday, and then enjoy the rest of the week with it on Instagram.
What's worse than the worst of the riot? The worst of the riot podcast. Yeah. You Did This to Yourself podcast. Riot. Radio U.
Trying to go back through and make sure I answer all the questions that came through on our Instagram takeover yesterday.
Yeah.
But there was one question that came up over and over and over and over and over again. I think I got it asked it like 5 or 6 times, which if you think about the fact that every other question was unique, but that was the one that I kept getting.
This was the theme throughout it.
Everyone wanted to know if you knew what the stories were going to be before we talked about them on the air.
Oh, really?
Over and over, people wanted to know.
That's funny.
And what I didn't think until I was thinking about it like weirdly in my sleep last night was just like,
that one really hit you to the core.
Well, why? Like, what is it about what we do and how we do it that makes people wonder if you know?
Sure.
Does it seem like you don't? Does it seem like you do? Does it seem like the stories I choose are things that Nikki would never choose, and I'm lording over you the content choices? Like what is it about what we do that makes everyone want to know? Does Nikki know what's happening?
Almost like we want to unpack that a little bit more.
I do. I want to know why everybody wants to know that thing.
I don't know. I think sometimes when they hear certain stories, you don't tell me about it because you want to get my reaction to it. And if I already knew about it, then there goes the reaction.
Well, and that's
there's plenty of those. Like, it's going to shock me.
Yes, that's what I answered one of them publicly in the where I posted it in the story, where I was like, Nikki knows some of them, but not all of them. Even though I share a document with Nikki every day of like, hey, here's what's coming up in the show, et cetera, et cetera.
Sometimes I'll also just look at titles, but I won't actually know the details because that's the part that will upset me. Or I'll be fine with.
And that upsetting is
what you guys like the most.
It's part of the fun.
It is. It's part of the show.
It's part of the fun.
Oh, that's funny.
So I was just surprised of all the questions. That was the one that kept coming up over and over again. So the answer to that I just gave you. Nikki knows some, but not all.
But if you ever want to unpack that with us, text us and let us know because we're fascinated by that.
Yes. Tell me why it is that you want to know so
bad.
Yeah.
You can text us at 877-2-RADIO-U. And like Obi was mentioning, our Instagram takeover. We're taking over stories on our Radio U official Instagram. So if you want to see what Obi did yesterday, check out the highlights that he made. And then today you've got Sydney. She'll take over. She's later in the day though, so I don't expect her to get up anytime soon.
No, I
so we'll see what her starts today.
I wouldn't look for some Sydney.
Until later?
Yeah.
But that's fine. She has different hours.
Yeah.
The Riot. They're kind of a big deal.
Hey, can we do that again? Maybe a little more energy?
No. Radio U.
Well, I don't know. Like, where do you want to start with this thing?
On the postponements? What comes first?
What do you want to start with?
Well, we covered a lot about the potential Big Ten and the Pac-12?
Yes.
Yesterday. So there's updates on that.
It's official now.
That was the update.
All fall sports have been postponed.
I was surprised. Or punished.
All.
I was surprised that they put in their announcement like they would hope to return by the spring.
Do you know my thought was when I heard that? Just stop. Don't say it.
Would you prefer to have it not at all or have it in spring?
Well,
for college football, which always came in the fall.
To be clear, I'm completely game for
anything?
A spring season. Sure, that's great. But everything that is like the reason that you're canceling it for now or postponing it for whatever word we want to use, all that stuff's still going to be here in the spring.
Sure.
Like you're not going to have a vaccine by the time the spring rolls around. I mean, maybe you do, but I would be very surprised. Not only do they have to zero in on a vaccine, but they have to manufacture it, and then they have to get it in the stores by Christmas. That kind of thing.
And then there's the time of is it all good? Is everything working?
It's complicated. I know we don't like it because we're just like, where are my McNuggets? I ordered those 30 seconds ago. But the machines of industry actually take a while. The wheels take a while to start turning.
Sure.
And they don't even have a vaccine yet.
Now, Russia said.
Let me tell you, I'm not taking Pootie Poot's vaccine, okay? I know some people are anti-vaxxers and whatever. I'll take the American one. but I am not taking the Russian one. Okay?
What if it means football? Doesn't mean it.
I'm still not taking it. Dude. I'm not. But I mean, we are going to have the same conditions.
We can only laugh at this point.
I know, but it's going to be the same conditions in the spring as what we're dealing with now. The other difficulty becomes that if you're going to do spring ball, when do you start it? March? And so you're going to have to, because at some point, these colleges are in the Midwest in open air stadiums. They're going to have to get on the other side of winter to be able to play these football games.
Sure.
To some extent, they can play in some snow, but...
Well, it was hard to read. One of the announcements, just from someone, they were saying, we hope to return for the 2021 season. And I was like, aw, maybe.
Sad trombone.
It didn't even make, next year, possible. So it's okay. We're all okay.
You know what? It's fine.
Which we say a lot.
It's
a coping thing. I just feel bad for especially the players too. But
it's just one of those things. There are things that happen in the year that you look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Now everybody's got different things they look forward to, right? I mean, we all do.
These are markers that you progress the year with.
This is something that I like to get to the end of August so we can get football started. That's the thing. It's once we get through August, we get football, we get this. And now you're just let's get to the end of the August, so what? We can start September.
Well, we'll see what happens. So the Pac-12, Big Ten are the two that have said no.
Right.
I assume the rest will follow, but maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to wait to see.
I'll say that there's part of me that, people in the SEC seem to be if they die, they die. At least they died playing football. That seems to be. It
doesn't seem like they will cancel at this point or postpone.
But people felt that way about the Big Ten also. So I don't know.
We've got an archive of everything stupid the Riot has ever said at your fingertips. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
So yesterday, 3 pieces of news hit at the exact same time for me. The first one was the confirming of the Big Ten and the Pac-12 postponing all fall sports. There was that. And then the second piece of news was that former Vice President Biden has picked Kamala Harris as his running mate for VP in the presidential race this fall. Now, I just want to be abundantly clear. I'm not making a political statement when I say this, but that announcement also bummed me out because let me tell you what it did. It said to me, Obadiah, there's no football this fall. But you know what there is?
The election.
There's the election. Do you know what that means? It means that we've taken away something good. And we are reminding you of
this one is still there.
How insane it's going to get. And people aren't going to have football to distract them from all of this other stuff. So that means they're going to have free time and mental space that they are going to begin applying, probably to social media, so that they can then, it is like somebody just keeps turning up the temperature on the pot. And
so that was exciting, is what you're saying about the reminder.
That was my thought. I was just like, man, we gonna burn it all down. It's going to be crazy. And again, it's not. It was just that I had, for the briefest moment, 30 seconds, forgot that there was a presidential election and was just mourning football. And they were like, oh, here it comes.
Get ready, because they got a lot of space to fill up with all the noise now.
I guess the upside to it when I think about it is that whatever happens in the election, I'm totally going looting the night of, so I won't even need Black Friday this year.
You'll be fine.
Go ahead and cancel it. I'll get the Black Friday stuff I was planning to get on the November 5th looting thing I'm going to do. So it should be fine. So
there were those pieces of postponement or just news. And then I know you have one more for later, and I feel like this one might be the most important.
No, at this point it was just
Just what else happens, guys?
Sure,
Lay it
go
all
ahead.
out. Maybe if they get it all out this week.
Oxygen has been postponed. There won't be any this fall.
So there's still one more puzzle piece to the postponement news.
Oh, yeah. Do we do it?
Well, I think you can give it a little bit.
Okay.
Let's
see if let's put something else in and then we'll come back.
We'll just let you guys just keep waiting so you can find out what else is going on.
There is one more thing. One more thing.
A Rotten Tomatoes score so high, they refuse to make it public. The Riot on Radio U.
I want to say hey to Shannon, who just sent us a message. It looks like, Nikki, the movie theater near us is opening up on Friday.
I was trying to find the
opening music?
Well,
we don't have opening music.
We only have postponement music, but I was trying to locate the one we normally go to, which is like 2 roads over.
Yeah,
and
it's a little farther away.
I haven't been able to see if that one opens anytime soon, but that's the wrong button.
No, this is perfect. It's like, this is the cleanest this movie theater's ever been. Ever.
What to do. Well, that's cool. I didn't know that one's going to be opening.
Yeah. So, okay, they're showing 10 movies.
Yeah.
I looked it up. Oh, good. I closed it out. It was, like, they're doing Beauty and the Beast, Ghostbusters.
It's the same movies.
Back to the Future.
Okay.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Jumanji, The Next Level.
Was that the most recent one?
Yeah,
or?
it's the recent one. Goonies.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are 3 others. I don't remember what they are. Sorry.
It's okay. You remembered most of them.
Yeah. I'll tell you, if they were open, like, this is so, like, the porridge is too cold. It's too hot.
Goldilocks.
Yeah, but they don't open until 3, and I won't be in the area until, at 3 o'clock.
Each day they don't open till 3? Oh, so instead of being open all day, it's just shorter hours.
If they would have an earlier in the day showing, I would totally do that.
Yeah, I guess just based on the movies, though, there's no new movies. So.
No, but it's only $5.
What do you see?
So drop $5, go to the movie theater. I don't know. That sounds kind of great to me.
You've missed that this summer.
I have. So maybe I'll check in on them next week and see if they've got any earlier showings. But
yeah, maybe they'll expand.
I doubt it.
Well, that's some good news. I always drive past that location she sent us, and I'm just like, yeah, the movie theater's still not open.
Well, guess what? Look at that. Something's open.
Something's finally happening.
In a world of postponements.
Well, don't say anything
don't
yet.
Jinx it.
There's
don't
still
jinx
a few days for that to change. So
You're right.
I would not go yelling that yet.
Okay. Shh. So I'll just get some coffee and pretend this didn't happen.
The worst podcast with the best listeners. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Let me run it down for you, just so you know. Like, we started out with there will be no Big Ten or Pac-10 college football. Then I found out that former Vice President Joe Biden has picked his vice presidential running candidate, which is Kamala Harris. Why am I throwing that in there? Because it reminded me that we're having a presidential election, and that bums me out, mostly because of all the yelling. There's going to be so much yelling, and no football to distract us from the yelling.
Well,
and then
there was the bigger one,
which
I was really upset when I heard this for you.
They announced yesterday that Halo Infinite, which was supposed to come out this year, postponed.
Now, let me just ask. Okay.
You go ahead, Nikki.
I
what
thought
is it?
that was
what do you want to say?
Is it the word like the flagship sort of?
Yes.
Launch off for the new Xbox?
Yes. Microsoft essentially has
put all the money into that game.
They don't have, I think they might have like one other game that is exclusive to their console that will come out this year.
Because they want to have a couple of big games to get you to buy the console around the launch time.
Yeah.
So what do you think this means?
They came out and they were like,
They said a lot.
They did. They were like, Halo Infinite is delayed until next year, but the Xbox Series X launches in November. To which I say, no, it doesn't.
I think they are going to. And then that leads to the other one. Well, actually, PlayStation. You think they would force it through because then they would have no other competition?
I think the PlayStation's going to launch in November.
Think so, but not the Xbox?
I think.
Why launch without the main game?
Well, they say, and again, is it just convenient timing? but they're saying that, hey, we're not launching with Halo because it's not ready, and we'd rather have it be ready than not ready.
How can it not be ready?
Well,
How many years have we been doing this?
They say with COVID, they haven't been able to be together. And I will say that's something...
they did talk about that in the spring.
The entire games industry has been saying, like, hey, without people in the same building working on stuff, it is taking longer to do this.
You actually cannot do game design remotely, believe it or not.
So they say they've had a hard time with that. And so, I mean, I suppose it's legit,
Doesn't
whatever.
look good.
But, it gets to that point where now, okay, so, like, are you guys, what about everything else? Is that Assassin's Creed game going to come out? Is, what do you call it, the Cyberpunk coming out?
Well, Aaron texted.
Like, is Call of Duty coming out? Are we going to get anything? Because I feel like this is the beginning of them canceling
everything with games?
Everything for the fall.
Well, Aaron texted and said, I wonder if they didn't want to compete with Cyberpunk.
Maybe, I guess.
It wouldn't change. I mean, they've been pretty vocal about launching this game with Halo, and the fact that it's postponed to next year, just, I don't think they wanted that. Oh, I'm sorry. You were playing through all the old games, all the old Halo games.
You're right, I was.
You were excited.
Yes.
You're ready to go.
They sold me on the idea of a new Halo. Like, now, I was in.
Jeff texted, said, Obi, are you doing okay? You sound weary.
Oh, do you think he's serious when he says that?
He's just tired of everything being canceled.
And
postponed.
I will tell you, seriously, it bummed, like, not just the Halo thing, it's kind of all of it together. It's just that it's a bummer. Like, we're going to live, we're going to be fine, we're going to make it. It's not about that. But you know how you have stuff that you just look forward to?
Sure.
Like,
You've been looking forward to those.
I'm excited about this. I'm looking forward to it. And they're just like, nah, not that.
Well, yesterday was a big day for all those. So maybe today will be better. You won't have as many postponements.
I mean, I'm a little numb to it at this point because it's happened so much. But there's still an element of just like, oh, come on. Give me something. Something.
Let me have something this fall to enjoy, please.
Oh.
You're basically listening to a RealTime Cringe compilation. This is The Riot on Radio U.
8772 Radio U. Text us. We would love to hear from you. Lots of people have been. Leah wanted to tell us that yesterday at this time, I was asking everybody, hey, what is that thing that you love that nobody else really seems to like? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people responded with food and stuff. I was more thinking about like hobbies, but because I just wanted to talk about how much I love Blu-rays and no one else seems to. But Leah said that she loves the movie Green Lantern.
Oh, and no one else really seems to?
Yeah.
She's a podcast listener, so thanks for texting us.
She is. Joel wanted to sound off on the cancellations and said, hey, could you imagine if they canceled pumpkin spice?
Oh, and that's a seasoning. I think it's fine.
It's probably okay.
But festivals for pumpkins, yes. That all gets canceled.
Man. And here we have Mitch. Mitch says, morning. I start back to school for accounting. It's all online. Must be today. I've never had to do all online before, and I'm nervous. Does anyone have any tips?
Ooh, that should be fun.
So, Mitch, Nikki?
Yeah?
Any tips for Mitch?
I think you need to create a schedule and stick to the schedule. It'll be very tempting to just, do it whenever.
Yeah.
And you might have classes that are like at certain times online, but I think you need to get up at a certain time. They say you're still supposed to make a bedtime for yourself.
Yes.
You're supposed to eat at certain times and stick to that schedule almost like you were going to classes in person.
Okay.
I think that's the best bet. So
the other thing that I have heard that is pretty good is that you designate a space for that and that only.
Yes, like a desk area.
So it's a desk or it's a whatever. I know when we were, I guess Nikki and I have been doing this the whole time, but I'm working from home more now. And I no longer play video games at my desk. Mm-hmm. It is now just for work. And I play video games in a different spot. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I'm just telling you, I just needed that to be...
You get distracted if not.
It needed to be a space that is only for work and no play in that space.
Let's see. Other than that, Mitch, just a reminder to get dressed every day. So, Take each day like you were going out and make sure self-care is important, even though you're doing it in a different way.
Yeah, take breaks and exercise.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, get them all?
A lot of people like Nikki and I have heard those over and over again from other people, but those are things that even though Nikki and I have always worked from here during the day, after the show, we've done different things. And I think I've implemented every single one of those tips
suggestions
that we just talked about.
Well, congratulations, Mitch, on starting your accounting school.
Good for you. I hope it goes super well and that you have a great first day.
Don't do classes from like the sofa or like in bed. You got to get up and just do your day.
Yeah. Well, you know what? One last text here. Carrie says, I love 3D movies. No one else does.
Back to our original topic.
Hey, Carrie, you're right. No one likes them.
Okay, one more. And then Sean says, Mitch, don't forget the coffee.
Now that's a tip.
The Riot has now been downloaded. I hope you installed some antivirus. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
Nikki and I have a tendency from time to time, not every day, but sometimes she and I need to go to the doctor.
And it's just a thing.
We need a health checkup.
We do.
We need somebody to make sure that we're okay. And sometimes we can't get out. Sometimes we need that doctor to make a house call.
I mean, you can't tell a doc this. You need it to be in person.
Yeah, and that's why Dr. Pepper feels a very real need for Nikki and I. A doctor who's there when we need them.
One we can afford.
Yeah, very affordable.
You can afford it, but now can you actually find it?
Mm-hmm.
So Dr. Pepper has announced that they understand that in certain parts of the country, it is harder to find certain flavors of Dr. Pepper products.
Come on.
So they are recognizing that there is what we call a shortage.
There's a Dr. Pepper shortage. There's a healthcare problem in America.
There is. And they say it applies to all Dr. Pepper flavors, including, they just wanted to get the newest one out there, the newest permanent edition of the Dr. Pepper and cream soda version.
Tell me about it.
Which you cannot find most places because of this shortage.
I will tell you right now that I spent forever. We did that taste test, I don't know, however many hundreds of millions of months ago.
For the cream soda one?
Yes. And I liked it. And so I was like, I'd really like to get some more. So I'll get like a 12-pack or something. Couldn't find it anywhere. And then one day, randomly, I went to Walmart looking for another food fight item. I found a 12-pack.
That was it?
One 12-pack of it. And I have savored it. I have one can left that I'm sure will be a weekend delight.
It's even harder to find it now. Some of that is there's a aluminum can shortage. That's real. That's been talked about. People call it the White Claw effect for the aluminum cans.
Oh, right. Okay.
And so there's just so many more cans. Everybody be drinking all this different stuff at home during quarantine.
It's killing the cans.
At the beginning of quarantine, a lot of people bought a lot of canned drinks and stockpiled them. And that just led to a shortage even at the start of that.
Okay.
So it's harder to find stuff.
Yeah. Dr. Pepper.
I mean, what are we supposed to do?
Who can you lean on in these unsure times, Nikki?
You can't drink your way through it with Dr. Pepper. It's not going to work.
Who can you trust?
You cannot find them. Now, there are other companies that are acknowledging that things are vanishing. It's hard to find Diet Right, Cherry Coke Zero, Vanilla Coke, caffeine-free Diet Coke. They're saying for Coca-Cola, they say that they just have a shortage in products because of so many items being consumed in the home that they have just not been able to replenish it.
I mean, it makes sense. Like our behavior as a society when it comes to products has changed.
Yep.
And they were, set to manufacture one way.
And they need more.
Yeah, now they need it another way.
So the shortage of aluminum cans, they call it the increased popularity of hard seltzers, soft drinks, sparkling waters that have moved on from using the plastic bottle into an aluminum can.
All right. So everybody stop with your hard seltzer. Obadiah needs to go to the doctor.
Giving every novelty food the publicity it so blatantly desires. It's The Riot on RadioU.
Aww.
Whatever.
Well, now, wait a minute. What is that?
What?
There's no whatever. Come on, everybody.
It's fine.
Come on.
Let's talk about Oreo flavors. Doesn't that sound good?
We love doing that.
It looks like those are probably still going to happen, okay?
Hopefully so. They're not taking that away.
So here's what we have. We can look forward to this fall. Chocolate hazelnut and Java chip Oreos.
Now, technically, they're saying it'll be in January, but what that means is
I'm reading it wrong already.
You already got it wrong. But sometimes they show up in end of November, December for a January item because it takes a while for it to get nationwide.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is good. I mean, I hope that there are still stores in January where we can get them.
They'll be fine.
I'm sure whatever happens with the outcome of the election, America will burn. And I hope that there are Oreos still.
That'll bring everybody back. That'll calm us all down. So these 2 new flavors for January of 21 will be Java chip Oreos. Those look delicious. Mm-hmm. And the chocolate hazelnut, which is a Nutella thing. Not officially.
It's not official.
It's what they say when it's not Nutella. It is a chocolate hazelnut.
Oh, man, that sounds good.
I thought they did that one already.
I felt like they had to, but you know what?
Oh, here it is. It's an updated version of the chocolate hazelnut cookies that first came out in 2018.
Okay.
This has the same filling for the sandwich, but it's in between chocolate cookies, not golden wafers, which they already had in the beginning.
Okay.
That makes more sense.
That does make sense. The other thing I see here, this is not a new flavor, but coming back this fall, making its return, are maple flavored Oreos.
Those are actually pretty good.
I recall enjoying a maple Oreo. So
now, the 2 flavors in January, those are not limited, I don't think. Those are just going to stay for forever.
Forever?
Forever. There are 2 new permanent edition. Well, that's weird. Permanent edition flavors.
Okay. So they're saying, it's forever. So
forever's a long time.
It is a long time, Nikki.
Who knows? What does forever hold for us?
By forever, they mean as long as we're capable of manufacturing cookies.
And then they'll bring them in and out. They shuffle around. So thank you to everybody. I think it was Michelle who sent it to us on our RadioU RIOT Facebook page.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks for sending us the link for the Java chip Oreos and the not Nutella, but the chocolate hazelnut spread one, which is a remake of their previously released ones. It's a new version.
The Riot really wanted to do this live, but now they can play video games and eat rice cakes instead. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
So yesterday, Joe Biden announced that Kamala Harris was going to be his running mate, which means, and look, this is an angle that you've never imagined ever taking. That meant that his logo needed to be reworked a little bit.
Oh, did it?
To now include Kamala Harris. And so just a heads up, they went ahead and showed you the logo. And some people are excited and fascinated that the font that they went with is called Decimal.
Decimal?
Yeah.
Not papyrus?
Up until now, Brother 1816 has been the font that the Biden campaign has been using, but they now have moved over to Decimal.
Guys, I don't know if you know this, but in the design world, a font change is a big thing, actually. You don't just go changing the font for any reason.
I'll just tell you right now, I apply font.
Did they make it want a more feminine feel or something? Possibly, or what did they want?
I don't know anything about that. Nikki, you feel free to head on over to the Reddit forums and see what the typography people are discussing.
People's interpretation of it is, because, again, you're just seeing a font, but there was a lot of reasons behind the font chosen.
Oh, I mean, I choose fonts willy-nilly.
You don't have, there's research, there's stuff behind it.
I'm just I like it, whatever. The amount of just effort and work that goes into things like that is incredible. And I'll just tell you, it would have never occurred to me, but I didn't know it was a font. Mm-hmm. And people can look and be like, oh, yeah, that's the blank font. It's like, what?
They can notice that stuff.
How do you know?
And then they hop on Reddit and join the forum about other people who've also noticed it, too.
Hey, I'll tell you right now, when I have to make something that the public looks at, I never used to give any thought to those fonts. And now when I choose a font, I always think, well, someone won't like this.
So there's always someone who hates everything.
They won't like this font. But there you go. If you want to sound super smart or something, you can bring that up with somebody today. Like, oh, yeah, Hey, did you hear that Kamala Harris is Biden's running mate? Yeah, and I saw they chose the decimal font.
What do you think of that?
That's an interesting choice, don't you think?
See how it goes with your... I mean, you could make friends because you guys are talking now. Not close together. You should be far enough apart, but...
Yeah, it's just something to think about if you want to be able to discuss politics but not take a hugely political stance.
Yeah, but then they're always going to come to you to talk about font stuff, and I don't know if you want to, you weren't really into it. Now you're starting off your whole new friendship as a lie because you don't care about it.
I noticed on that presentation you used entraste.
You're like, yeah, I did.
It's an interesting choice. Yeah. I like it because it's all capital letters. No capitals. Nobody's capital when we're all capital.
Where do you go when you need someone to listen to your problems and give you a big hug? Not here. Obviously, this is The Riot on Radio U.
One of the most, it's a regret that stings more as time goes on. You know, at the time it was a financial decision where I said, hey, I don't really want to spend the money or waste the time of all these fine people. But now in retrospect, I should have said, guys, we're doing it.
What should we have done?
We're going to the Last Blockbuster, okay?
So everybody keeps sending us this story. Is it no longer a Blockbuster, or are they just also now offering this?
Well, it's not that it's no longer a Blockbuster. It's just that as a promotion.
To get the word out about it.
They're doing it for 3 nights and 3 nights only. They have at the Last Blockbuster,
which is in Oregon.
In Oregon, they have created what is essentially a 90s bedroom. Well, it's like a living room where they have the
a pull-out sofa,
a pull-out couch.
Yeah,
and
it's great.
It is great.
So you can stay the night like an Airbnb.
It's an Airbnb. It's $4 per night, which is what movie rentals used to cost.
That's funny.
And so you'll be able to do this. I think you have to win it. So you go in and like you got to sign up for it, and somebody's going to get the chance to do that.
So it's in Bend, and the manager said that this is a way to thank her community for keeping the Last Blockbuster rental shop in business. Mm-hmm. They don't get as much like rental stuff, but they get a lot from merchandise that people go in. You could buy like a membership card and stuff, and it's a tourist place, but it's been hit with the quarantine and COVID and stuff, so they're trying to remind people they still need support too.
So let me get you some of the wording here. They say a totally rad yet intimate slumber party at the world's Last Blockbuster store. And you will get one of 3 available nights, and you can watch any of the movies in the place. So
the nights are September 18th, 19th, or 20th.
Guess my birthday's on the 21st. Guess what would be awesome?
Well, they didn't want to, they don't want to put it actually on your birthday, but the day before.
I could spend the night on the 20th and wake up on my birthday in the Last Blockbuster.
And then, of course, you can watch all the movies you could want during your stay there.
It's perfect.
And it looks great. They did a good job with the feel of it.
I know. I want to do it. I won't get to, and it's fine because, one, air travel will, do people still fly in airplanes? So that there's that.
So here's a couple of COVID details on it. If you're interested in being one of the parties chosen for this Blockbuster sleepover, each set of overnight guests must come from the same household. So you can't go and get your friends together.
You couldn't bring all your friends, sure.
Nope, you've got to bring people that are in your same house, which you could quarantine leading up to it, and maybe that would still count if you're all in the same house.
Sure.
They'll still follow COVID safety regulations. The store will be cleaned and sanitized between each stay, and that should be it.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm in. You can count me in. I want to do it. I'm not doing it, but I want to.
If you can't make it, because this is in Oregon, what you can do is you can show your support for the store by calling the Callgorithm hotline, which will get you a personal movie recommendation from the Blockbuster staff there.
I'm good.
You sure? I got the number if you want. You don't want the number?
I'm good.
Proper planning prevents poor performance. Clearly, the Riot didn't properly plan. This is the worst of the Riot on Radio U.
Nikki, what would you pay for Microsoft's first Android phone?
Microsoft's
Remember,
first.
they did Windows phones forever. They gave
You're
up.
right, they did. They don't make those anymore?
No. So Microsoft is making their very first
Android phone.
It's coming out, Lord willing and the creek don't rise, September 10th.
This year?
This year.
You got to check. You do have to ask.
That's fair. Yes. September 10th.
Well, Microsoft, are they as overpriced as everything else? Let's say $550.
$1,000.
What?
$300.
Oh, come
$99.
on. Why?
But Nikki, this is the Surface Pro.
No, you can't tell me any specs that'll make that worth it. I only pay that money for Apple because it's my thing, and it's a lot of people's thing.
How much? What do you have? You have the iPhone 11 Pro Max?
Yeah.
Or is it the Max Pro?
It's the bigger one.
Right, but is it the Pro Max or the Max Pro?
I don't remember. I think it's the Pro Max.
Okay, so what does that cost? iPhone 11 Pro Max.
It's a tiny bit more than what you just said. It's a tiny bit more.
Well, I can get it for you for $31 a month
for
24 months.
The phone plan? That's the only way people are able to afford it.
You do not have to tell me, friend.
I guess I thought with Microsoft, with this being their first Android phone, they would want to make it more accessible for people to want to see how their take is on it.
The iPhone,
and at $1,300, that might be a bit much of a jumping in point.
The iPhone 11 Pro Max, $1,099. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, downright reasonable compared to this.
Well, it depends on what size you get.
So the idea,
what is your storage size?
This Microsoft one, it is a 360-degree hinge. It's two 5.6-inch screens. So it folds up, and then you open it up. It's one of those. It's a folding phone.
Uh-oh.
So when you open it, if it's two 5.6-inch screens, I can't do the math correctly, but it'll be bigger.
It'll be bigger than that.
With a big crease down the middle, but it's fine.
I'm looking at is there a picture? Or is
Nikki, you could put this in your pocketbook and pull it out. It looks like a checkbook. You pull it out and you can write a virtual check on it.
You could. All right.
At the grocery store.
That's, again, a bit expensive.
Wow, that is still $100 cheaper than Samsung's folding phone. Oh, my gosh. What are we doing?
So now they must have been talking about this thing last year or something, because I'm seeing a lot of stories about this foldable phone, but it was from 2019 in October.
I sent you a link.
I'll look at that. If
you look, you'll get a chance to look at it. But I mean, basically, just imagine you have an Android phone.
But just
then you
flip it open. It's exactly what it looks like.
That's all it is. Which is not to take away from it.
No, what was the old Nintendo thing?
The DS?
It looks like
It actually does look like a DS.
It looks like a thinner DS, yeah.
To me, that feels like a positive spin.
Because it's thinner?
When you say
look at who's skinnier.
The DS. I love the Nintendo DS. It's a wonderful thing.
It's lighter. It's more lightweight.
Yeah. So $1,399. It makes my potential $500 purchase price of a PlayStation 5 seem downright reasonable.
It does.
Affordable.
Now you're not carrying your PlayStation around with you,
which makes it seem even more expensive because it's too expensive to carry around.
It is.
The Riot is well-versed on many different topics.
They're shy at first, but they're quite skilled at conversation.
This is The Riot on Radio U.
So yesterday, Facebook gave us some numbers, and that number was directly to Mark Zuckerberg so we could complain.
To call and make a complaint to him?
Not those numbers,
That's
Nikki.
not it.
The number they gave us is they said that between April and June, that they removed about 7 million posts that were spreading what they called harmful misinformation about COVID-19.
So that's not the ones where I would start to see people who would share a story and then it would cover it up and say this has been shown to be, because those weren't technically removed,
they've
right?
got two levels.
Two levels?
There's what you're talking about. They say they've done 98 million of those. 7 million, they just completely deleted the post.
Gotcha.
And so Facebook is trying to take a stance on preventing misinformation from being shared. Of course, here's the problem that we're all having. I have this problem. is that then you've got people that are like, well, they wouldn't remove it if it wasn't true. So there's that.
Oh, so yeah, it doesn't.
That's the reason. Remember the doctors in the white coats?
Sure.
Remember that video? The only reason they took that down because it was true, Nikki.
Well,
that's the reason they took it down.
I've heard both sides, and I think they've taken, it's not just COVID stuff, but there's also other things that have been, flagged or removed. And whenever you have something like that, there's going to be some probably wrong removals and some right removals.
Right. And so that's what it, to me, again, this is where it gets weird.
It's a slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope. And just to be clear, if you think that I'm out here like Facebook shouldn't take things down, hey, they're a private enterprise that can do whatever they want. Like that's the problem. We're the ones that handed the keys to Facebook.
Sure.
They never stole them. We gave it to them freely in order to tell everybody just what we were thinking.
Just what we were up
let
to.
you know.
That's a big number, though. But
it's crazy.
I would also want to know, well, what's the posting number of how many posts total do they have? And then is this such a small number just compared to what huge number that is?
I have no idea. No idea. But I will tell you this. I feel very safe and confident in what I'm about to say. Don't ever get your news from Facebook.
Or from your friends on Facebook. Not even from Facebook itself.
I mean, I've got people, like, I can think of one person right now in my life that they have a job, but, like, I think what they're getting paid to do one thing, but what they actually do during the day is spend the day on Facebook.
That's all they do.
Like, just telling people about, I don't know, the end, just whatever, like how the government's going to get you. I had somebody pass me something the other day that was like 30 years old, and they were like, this is about the virus. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well, how about you just say this? You always want to go outside and fact check as well. Like outside of Facebook in our circle.
You ready, Nikki? Yeah, that's what they would tell you, like wouldn't they? Right.
Never mind.
Of course, that's what they want you to do. They want you to go outside the system when that's because the system's a lie.
Well, then it's hard because,
Join me in trying to spread the truth on Facebook.
The rest of us want to bury our heads in the sand because we're tired of it, and then you wonder why.
Now, Nikki, what did I say?
What?
If you go back in my posts over the last few weeks, how have I been burying my head in the sand?
You take a social media break.
Or
you turn it off completely.
I play Halo.
Oh, you play Halo. Look what that got you. Halo got postponed.
That got Halo canceled.
Hide that story.
They canceled Halo because they don't want me looking at Halo. They want me looking at Facebook.
Don't say anymore because then it could start.
They would.
It could actually. I hate when it starts sounding like, oh, that is possible. I hate that.
It's fine.
You're listening to the worst of the riot. Radio U.
Yesterday, I didn't play it, but I took a look at Marvel's Avengers. That's the game that's coming out for the Xbox, the PlayStation, and the PC on September 4th.
We're getting close.
Nikki, September 4th is
that's
Labor
Mulan
Day weekend.
Day. What?
Oh, well, see, there you go.
It's also that.
It's your Mulan Day, but it's Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, you're right.
And I, up until now, have not thought that it looked very good. Everything I've seen for it, I've been like, yeah, I don't know.
Are your standards lowering? Is that what you're saying?
Not sure if that's what's happening or if the game just looks good.
You'll take any new game. It doesn't matter what it is.
Well, there is that closed beta that happened last weekend.
Mm.
This weekend, if you have pre-ordered it, you can play. And then next weekend, it's just an open beta. Anybody can play it. And then the weekend after that, the game releases. And so I spent some time last night on Digital Foundry's YouTube channel, which I love. I love their YouTube channel. And watched their take on the new Avengers game. And it
looks better?
I thought it looked cool. So it has a whole single-player campaign to it. And then they say that there's a multiplayer component. Their take on it was, think Destiny. So you've got your Avengers character, and it's just, I don't know. They say it plays like Destiny. I don't know what that means exactly. I assume it means open areas where you're doing kind of mini quests and building your character.
Walking around a bit more.
Sounds kind of cool to me, actually, because games like that, and I'm sure you can correct me because there's some game that's different, but they typically are like shooters. And this is something that's a little different.
Not a looter shooter.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Normally. I just like the term looter shooter.
And so this is going to be something.
Looter shooter, remember?
Looter shooter?
Yeah, little looter.
Little looter shooter. But I think I'm going to be on board for this.
So that's on that Friday going into the holiday weekend?
It is.
Well, there.
I'm DJing a wedding that night. But then the next day, good times are
and we
here
have that
again.
Monday off.
We got Monday off.
You could play it right and roll right on through to Tuesday morning.
You know I could.
So that could be the plan.
You know I could.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad. Again, it's nice to have something to look forward to.
It looks cool.
The worst of the riot is over, but the fun can keep going.
Hey, I saw you checking out my goods.
Check the Riot blog or stalk us on social media.
You want to sample them? A little try before you buy, huh?
Through riot.radiou.com.
This great toilet seat has served our family for generations.